Hi everybody. In this video we are going to get rid from another pattern that existed a lot in migrated code, and you don't need to write new code like that. Let's say that you have a relation like the one we have over here to go and get the shipper information. And the only way in Magic to know if there was actually a shipper existing there is to define another variable and then do NotifyRowFound too. In Magic this property was called success indicator, I think, or something like that. Success indicator, which reference to E, which then updated this variable. And this is just unnecessary complicated code. When you write new code, you don't need to use all of this, because to do that you need this line of code, and this line of code, and another line of code. Let's simplify all of that. So let's replace the NotifyRowWasFound column with simple RowFound definition. So here we can see where it is used. We can see it's defined over here. Okay, let's delete that. We can see it's defined over here. Let's delete that as well. We can see it's defined over here. Let's delete that as well. And let's see where it is actually used. It's used here and here. Well, instead of using that variable, I can actually access the relation and get the relation information. So I can say here relations shippers dot row found. And I can do the same over here. So replacing the NotifyRowWasFound with RowFound is that easy. I was able to delete the variable, to delete its definition, to delete its column Z, and the usage of it is much simpler. Instead of using the field that we deleted, we're now accessing the specific relation and asking it if the row was found. Cool. Row replacing NotifyRowWasFound, or success indicator as it was called in Magic, with a relation.rowFound. Great. Now another common way of doing that, it is actually even easier, is to do entity.contains. So I can, for example, use here, instead of saying relation shippers row found, I can make a different kind of query. It might make less sense over here, but it's still very, very useful in many cases. I can say here shippers.contains shipper.shipperID is equal to shipper ID. Okay? So this shippers.contains will actually send a question to the database at this time, making sure whether or not the shipper exists. Now it might look a bit cumbersome to do it here instead of this simple thing, but the way it's actually meant to be used is by refactoring it to the shipper ID. So instead of doing this, I will say here shipper ID dot exists. Okay? And obviously this method does not exist, so I will ask Visual Studio using control dot, or using this nice little light bulb, to generate a method for me. And I will go to the method, and here I will say var s equals new models shippers, and return s contains, where s shipper ID is equal to this. Okay, so that way the shipper ID type can now check if that value exists. And our code became even simpler and much more usable. So let's review the change. Instead of using in our controller the relation RowFound, we can use shipper ID.exists, and a lot of times we can eliminate the relation just by doing that, because so many relations are there that just to check if something exists. So we can change it with shipper exists, and to achieve that, we added to the type the reusable method exists that we'll be able to reuse all over the place. So that's it for this short series of videos. We'll probably add more as we think of them and proceed. Using entity contains. I hope you enjoyed it. Please send us feedback and questions or ideas if you have on more videos in this series. Good luck!